of my newborn baby must-haves, everything that I've used for all three of my children that have really helped me out. So this is not like a budgeting, like essentials list. This is things that I found really useful and things that I really wish that I've definitely had the first time round. And if you want to know everything that you actually need to bring your baby home, everything you need on a very tight budget, a separate video detailing what you actually need as a new parent, and it's very minimal, very budget friendly. Okay, so Barbara's going to join us because she's not very happy at the moment. Are you joining us for the video? So the first thing I would recommend is definitely a nice cot, because this is something your baby is going to be in for a very long time. So rather than trying to invest in something like a next to me crib, I would highly recommend just going with a cot straight away if it can fit in your bedroom, because that is obviously something you're going to need until they're at least 2. So, and I would recommend getting one with like a drawer underneath that has like storage, and one with like the bumper rail so that your baby can't chew the railing of the cot, which when they get older and they start standing and pulling themselves up, they do tend to do. And then I would get like 2 mattress protectors for it. They don't need to be expensive, they all do the same thing. And about 2 to 3 fitted cot sheets so that you've always got one available and one in the wash. And then as for like a Moses basket or a next to me crib, it's not that I don't recommend them. I would say they're in it for a very short amount of time. I would say about 4 or 5 months. They say 6 months, they never last 6 months in them because they always outgrow them. And as soon as your baby is mobile and they start rolling, which can start as early as 3.5 to 4 months, you're going to want them in a cot that can be like, that is like down on the lowest level, because then there's the safety risk. So I would recommend borrowing one, getting one second hand, having it bought for you if you are having like a baby shower, for example. They're not as common in the UK. Baby showers are more common in America, I would say. But if you are having one and people don't know what to buy you, I'd recommend they all pitch in for something like that. Or even get it on Facebook Marketplace, because they're hardly in them, which means that they're not very much used, which means they're going to be in pretty good condition. You can find so many good bargains online that I would just recommend doing that, because like I said, they're not in it for a very long time. But another thing you are going to need is a pram or travel system. Now most of the packages that you can get if you are going to buy it new do come with their own carry cot, which you attach to the pram. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but some, not all, you can check this on your manufacturer's website. So for example, I've got a Nuna pram, and the carry cot that comes with that pram is safe for overnight sleeping. So I actually had a crib given to me that I used, and then I proceeded to give it back, if that makes sense. So I didn't need to worry about that, but what I would have done is just use that. And you can buy a stand for a Moses basket. That can also then be used for your baby's carry cot that comes with your pram. So you have like your pram that you attach, your carry cot to your car seat, and then it's like a travel system, isn't it? And then you can put like a seat unit on it, where you can actually use that for your baby to sleep in overnight. Now, I don't know if all of them you can, but I do know that the newer ones, they are safe for overnight sleeping. And it means that not only can you leave them in the actual pram, then if you're out for a stroll and they happen to fall asleep in it, it's safe to leave them in there even when they're newborns. But it means that that's something you don't have to purchase again. Now they do sell really fancy stands for the Moses, like, you know, for the carry cot then, that you can buy. But you can also just use a Moses basket stand. They're exactly the same size. So don't feel you have to spend, I think they're about £200 new, which is ridiculous just for a stand. I mean, they look nice, but literally you're going to be using it for what, 4 months? Where you can just buy like a Moses basket stand, you can pick them up for like £5, you know? So that's what I would recommend. Are you taking your socks off? But like, yeah, with things like bedding, don't feel like you need like 20 sheets and things like that. There's no need. As long as, it obviously depends, like if you've got a tumble dryer, I'd say only buy like 2 or 3. If you don't have a tumble dryer and you're relying on like either pegging your washing out or drying them on like areas and things, then maybe get like 4, but don't think you need loads of them. Multi-packs of plain white is more than ample. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy the really expensive ones, because they're not in them long. So unless you know you're definitely going to have more children, it may be worth then investing in better ones, because obviously you're going to use them again and they can be stored away, but I wouldn't recommend spending too much money on things like that. So then we have your baby's clothing. So realistically, unless your baby has reflux, so this is my 3rd daughter, this is Phoebe, And she's 6 months old now, and she's got reflux, which basically just means that when they eat, they're very sicky, and they can be quite colicky as well. So it just means that she is sick a lot. So obviously I do go through quite a lot of clothes, but obviously I didn't know that until after she was born. You know, so that I just went out and bought like more muslin squares, more bibs, more clothes. But when you're first starting out, I wouldn't buy more than like 12 baby grows and 12 vests for just the newborn stage, because there really isn't any need. They're literally not in them for long, and you're not going to sit there fiddling around with like nice clothes when you've literally just had a baby. You're going to pop them in a vest and a baby grow, and that's it. You're not going to use these fancy clothes, and those are the type of things that literally people will buy you. So I wouldn't worry about buying like newborn clothes. There's no need, and you only, in my opinion, need about 12 vests and 12 baby grows. And then obviously I would get some muslin squares. Again, you don't need 20 guys, you just need about 6. And then some bibs. And then wait for your baby to be born and see if they have reflux or if they're more sicky. I mean, obviously they do explosive poo a lot, but if you do have a washing machine and a tumble dryer, there's no need to go out and buy like 20 of everything. You're not going to use it. So then I would get like 2 hats, a cardigan and a jacket, a pram suit, a blanket. You don't need loads of blankets, you're not going to use them. Babies don't sleep in blankets, they sleep in sleeping bags. It's much safer for them. And in the newborn days, I would recommend a Velcro swaddle. So everything I am mentioning will be linked down in the description. So yeah, the newborn Velcro swaddles are so easy to use, but you can swaddle a baby with a blanket. But obviously with the Velcro swaddles, that is that little bit safer, because you know that they're not going to wiggle around and nothing's going to go over them. But my old two, like I have a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old as well, and with my 16-year-old, it just wasn't a thing, and I just used to use a blanket to swaddle her. And that was the way I was shown how to do it in the hospital. So it just goes to show how crazy, how much things change when it comes to baby advice. But I will say, what I want to make really clear is, you know what's best for your little one, so please go with what you feel is best. Don't watch the videos and feel like you're not prepared, or that you need to buy more, or that you've bought too much. At the end of the day, you're the parent. So as long as you know in your heart you're doing the best for your little one, that's all that matters. So then obviously you're going to need things like nappies and wipes. Yes, we will. So yeah, nappies, wipes. If you're on a budget, buy the cheap ones. I've used Pampers, Huggies, I've used Aldi's one, Lidl's one. To be honest guys, all nappies are pretty much the same. So we're back and we're just having some yummy milks. So yeah, things like wipes then, I mean, all wipes are the same. I wouldn't buy Waterhouse guys, they're such a rip-off. They're literally all the same. If you actually read the backs of the packs, they're pretty much all the same thing, so I wouldn't worry. If you are really worried about putting things like wipes on your newborn skin, then the best thing you can do is buy cotton wool pads, not the balls, the pads, and then just use water for your baby. If you are really concerned maybe your baby has sensitive skin, then that's what I would recommend doing. But don't feel like you have to go out and buy more expensive wipes because you feel like they're going to be better for the baby's skin. They're all pretty much the same thing. So if you're on a budget, just buy the cheap ones. But you will need like nappies, wipes, some nappy cream, and then I would get things like a little hairbrush for the little one, and a comb set is really handy, and a thermometer. You don't need a no-touch thermometer. I know they're like all the rage on YouTube, but you can literally buy a thermometer that goes under your baby arm and it's like £3, whereas the no-touch one I think is about £30 or £40, which I just think is a little bit crazy, I've got to be honest. So yeah, there's no need to like buy the most expensive of everything. Most baby products are just really overpriced, to be honest. I always use the baby scissors. I find it's the best way to cut their nails. And when she was really little, when she was newborn, I would just do it while she was sleeping on me. But now that she's a bit obviously older, I just make sure that she's in a good mood, put her on my lap and cut her nails and hold her hand, and she's okay with it. Some babies really hate it, but the more you do it, the more they get used to it. So I just recommend doing it with the scissors from the beginning, because you've got more control. And clippers, I don't know, I just never got on. That's how I personally did them. So I think that was just kind of like personal choice, what you find easier. And then having like either a nappy caddy where you can carry like nappies, wipes, baby essentials around with you, maybe some bibs, a change of clothes, or just having all the things you're going to need to change your baby's nappy, a spare change of clothes. If you're breastfeeding, maybe some snacks and a water bottle. Any extra things you think you're going to need, have it in every room. That way you don't have to keep going up and down the stairs. You're not constantly searching for things. It's just a lot easier. And I will be making a separate video showing you all of the baby organisation that I have for Phoebe, where all the things are, because she doesn't have her own room. All the daughters have their own bedroom, so she is in the bedroom with me at the moment. So I will show you like her nursery setup and how I organise things, and like where I keep things in my house for her and things like that, because I think that's really useful. It's definitely something I looked for when I was first pregnant. So I will make that in a separate video for you guys. And then also having things like natural, like oil is very good. Don't buy baby oil, the Johnson's baby oil, because that is not good for their skin. It's actually proven to have quite harsh chemicals in it. Just buy like natural, like coconut oil and things like that. And then that helps with things like cradle cap. So you may notice not every baby gets this. My first daughter got it really bad and it was really hard to get rid of. But then my second daughter didn't get it, and she's had it a little bit. So sometimes they get like thick like skin. It's almost like dandruff, but it's very thick and hard to like lift off the scalp. And they come, some babies get it, some babies don't. Some babies even get it like on their face as well. It comes like onto their forehead. Basically what you do is you just rub a bit of the oil on there, leave it on there, and then wash it off like you usually would wash their hair. But when your baby is first born, they do not need body wash or shampoo on them at all. I highly recommend not using it. And your health visitor and doctors, nurses, they will tell you the same thing. Just use water. They don't need, you know, they're not getting mucky, you know. So there's no need to feel like you have to, you know, scrub them down or, you know, use loads and loads of different products. You don't need it at all. I wouldn't recommend any products at all for the first few months. It's literally just going to dry out your baby's skin. So if you do want to purchase a baby swing or a bouncer for your baby, I would recommend getting one that does both. So we have the Joey swing, I think that's how you say it, and this is really good because you can actually take the like bouncer off and detach it and use it as a bouncer. Now you're not actually going to know what your baby likes until they're born, really. Pardon you. They all like different things. Some little ones like to be swung in certain ways, and I really like this swing because it can swing in both directions and it's detachable. So it means that no matter what your baby prefers, you're going to be able to do it and you're not going to be wasting money. Now you do not need to buy this before your baby is born. It's not something you're going to be needing straight away, but it does make a really nice gift for you. And if you do have like parents or grandparents that are excited, then this is what I would highly recommend. I've used nothing more than that. It's just so useful to be able to put them in it and get on with things, especially when they're newborn, because it rocks them. She loved going like this way, not like this way. We did have like a swing upstairs that was given to us, and it only went like this way, if that makes sense. So she would swing this way, the seat would, and she didn't like it. But with this one, because it goes side to side like that, she loved it. So, and again, this is something you won't know until the baby's here. And I would highly recommend buying all baby products off Facebook Marketplace, because people just want to get rid of all this bulky stuff in their house. You can get some really good bargains. You can literally just wash it and you've got something. You're going to save yourself so much money. Trust me, keep it for when they're teenagers, because they cost you a fortune. So now obviously this is slightly different depending on if you're bottle feeding or breastfeeding. If you are going to be breastfeeding, then you're not going to need as many things, but I would recommend a really good, supportive, comfortable bras, clothing that you feel comfortable breastfeeding in if you are planning to breastfeed in public, or maybe you're planning to pump. And if you are planning on pumping more than actually feeding, then obviously you will need a breast pump. Now, I know that in America, you can get a breast pump, I believe, with your medical insurance. That's not a thing over here. So I would recommend not buying something, because some of them are very expensive until the baby is born, because you don't truly know what you're going to do or how things are going to turn out until they're born. Like this little one was going to be breastfed, that only worked for about a week or so, and now she's completely formula-fed. And I'd also like to say that it doesn't matter how your baby is fed. When they grow up, no one asks them, hey, were you breastfed or bottle fed as a baby? Nobody cares. So just know that as long as they're putting on weight, they're thriving, they're happy, you know, they're content, that's all that matters. But yeah, you will obviously need your bottles. So I recommend getting about 6 to 8 bottles, and then a form of sterilising your bottles is also something you're going to need. So either, you know, you can do them in the microwave, you can get cold water sterilisation, you can buy an electric steam steriliser, but I don't recommend them. They're a nightmare to clean, they always need descaling, and they just take up space. So if I was going to choose, I would personally do cold water sterilisation because it is that much more portable. But I had a steam microwave one given to me, and that's why I'm using it, because it was free. Again, if you can get freebies when it comes to these things, I highly recommend doing that. And then for bottle feeding on the go, I highly recommend the Rapid Cool Flask. I've used nothing more. It's always on sale on Amazon. I got mine, it was about £26. Everything I speak about will be linked down in the description box, so be sure to go and check those out. But I highly recommend it. They didn't have it when my first dog was born, and I must say bottle feeding on the go was a bit of a challenge. So yeah, I have done a second video all about bottle feeding your baby, so I will link that down below for you as well if that is something you're looking for information on. It can be a little bit frustrating to try and find all the information, so I just put everything that I do all in one place, and you know, how I feed, how I do it on the go, everything like that. So I will link that below as well. Hello, say hello. Rapid Cool I highly recommend, and then obviously a formula of your choice. So I use the Mamia formula, I think that's how you pronounce it. I use the formula you can buy from Aldi. Now they don't do the ready-made little bottles of the Mamia formula, but I just take it out with me and use the Rapid Cool. But for example, when I went into hospital to have her, because obviously the formula that I chose didn't have the ready-made option, I just bought the little ready-made, like with the sterilised teats on Amazon, and I bought the Actimel version, and it's completely okay to do that if you like change your baby's feeding and everything. As long as they haven't got allergies and they're not premature, then I've never had an issue. Like, I've been called out once or twice. As long as you've got a clean sterilised bottle, you can just go into any shop and buy yourself like a little ready-made formula. So don't panic if you are caught out, we've all been there. So then I also have the prep machine. I have like the older version. I think they've come out with like a new like digital version now. They all do the same thing. I actually had mine given to me. It's not something I chose to purchase because obviously when my other two were babies, it didn't exist. So I have a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old as well. So it's quite a large age gap. They just weren't a thing, or if they were, I didn't know about it at all. And I have used nothing more. It's really good. I really recommend it. As long as you follow the instructions and clean it, descale it regularly. There's absolutely nothing wrong with prep machines. I just think that's kind of another thing that's personal choice of whether you choose to use or not, but it's really helpful. And I will say, if you've got a screaming baby at 3 AM, you're not going to sit there and wait for a kettle to cool down for 30 minutes. It's just not going to happen. So I think you need to be realistic with yourself when it comes to formula feeding, and you're either going to have to go down the route of buying many, you know, ready-made formula bottles, or you could use a prep machine, or if you've got the Rapid Cool, you can just use that. It's not just for out and about. If you want to save yourself some money, I would just get the Rapid Cool and use that on night time and take it up to bed. It's the exact same thing. So I highly recommend the Rapid Cool. It's one of the best baby products out there in my opinion. It's so awesome, I love it. So then I would also recommend a baby wrap or baby carrier. Now this is obviously personal preference, it doesn't really matter which one you get. But I would recommend waiting until your baby's born to actually purchase everything I'm talking about in this video. Like I said, this is not an essentials video, this is just everything that I've used that I found very helpful with my children. And you know, basically, because if you've got other children, we all have busy lives, you are going to need products to help you, but they're not essentials. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy everything before the baby is born. You're going to get gifted things, and not only that, you're not going to know what you're actually going to do, especially if you're a first time mum, until the baby is actually in your arms. So I would recommend waiting. We have Amazon, you can get next day delivery. I just wouldn't worry about it too much. So if you want my bare essentials video, like I said, I have a separate video for that. And then obviously you're going to need like a pram or travel system. I recommend getting one that has a carry cot that you can use for overnight sleeping, because then you haven't got to purchase something like a Moses basket or an extra me crib. You can literally just take that up to bed with you. Again, you can find that out by looking on actual websites of the manufacturers. And then you can get like a baby bath support. I know a lot of people like to have a separate baby bath. It's not personally something I've ever used. But as for a baby bath support, I wouldn't say you need it, but it is helpful. because you can lay them in it and then you can have like one hand supporting them, one hand washing them, and it just gives you that little bit of peace of mind that there's something there. And obviously you should never leave your baby alone, we all know this. I mean, why you would ever leave your baby newborn alone for, I never know. You know, but obviously we don't leave your baby alone or anything, but it just means that you can lay them down and they are supported in the bath, and then you can wash them. It just makes your life that little bit easier, but I wouldn't say you desperately need that object at the end of the day. If you wanted to save yourself money or you haven't got one yet, you can just bathe your baby in the sink, or put like towels on the bottom of the bath or the sink, lay them down, and only fill up the sink or bath with, you know, an inch of water so it's not covering them, you know, so it only comes, you know, it's not covering their mouth then, you know, so you can just do that, that's completely fine. So don't think you need to have all the baby products out there. I think, unfortunately, baby products, I think, are very overpriced, and it's most of it's just a marketing thing, and I wouldn't say we need them, but there are things out there that are really useful, that do help us. So I think that is pretty much everything that I found really useful when it comes to having my little ones. The other thing that I would really recommend if you are going to be a new parent or you're having another little one is to think about more practical things. It's not just about buying stuff. I would have plenty of food in your freezer that's really easy to heat up. You know, meal prepping is a really good idea. And also, if someone is really stuck on knowing what to buy you, then personally for me, what I would love more than anything is just an extra pair of hands. Never feel bad about asking for help. If you have the support, then definitely take advantage of it. There's nothing you're going to want to do more when you bring that newborn baby home than you just want to sit on the sofa all day every day and snuggle them. I want to do that right now, obviously. You know, so being able to have someone that can come over and do washing, make you dinner, you know, maybe put the hoover around, that's just so priceless, and it's worth more than any baby product. So that's what I personally recommend. So if you are watching this and you don't know what to buy someone, I would offer you time and an extra pair of hands, and I can tell you now they will love you for it. It's one of the best presents you can give a new parent, absolutely. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. I really hope you did enjoy it. It was very chilled and relaxed, and obviously we had an extra special guest. So I really hope you found this video useful, and I hope it is helpful. Everything will be linked down in the description. It's this new thing that she likes to do where she's got her dummy in her mouth but she's like pulling it out at the same time. So that's what that noise is. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you watched all of this video, I really do appreciate it, and I really hope that you found it helpful and it gives you some ideas of things that you might find useful. Have an amazing day, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh.